If you want to stay updated, make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to get the videos as soon as they upload.
How are you doing as I check our connection? A couple messages for the viewers, so pick a section, have a seat. Yeah, I know this is different, quit with the questions. Allow me a second, please, to make my first impression.
YouTube, what up? Welcome back to another Pounds 978 custom video. And right now I want to talk to you guys about these heads, these 3D printed heads that were printed and casted and sent my way. Shout out to the Collector's Place. Follow him on Instagram if you want heads like this or you want to see more cool projects from this creator. These are all inspired from the 90s animated series Spider-Man TV show, which debuted way back in 1994 on November 19th and spent about 4 years on TV on Fox Kids Network. And I think this was the first time a lot of people who weren't into comics were introduced to Spider-Man, me being one of them. I mean, I knew of Spider-Man, we all know, right? You grew up to know what superheroes are. You grew up in like elementary school, middle school, and we talk about it. But I think in 1994, I was in the 4th grade, so I was just leaving elementary, getting into middle school, and I think that's when comic books really started to catch my attention. The X-Men being probably one of the first comic books that I ever picked up. And shout out to my buddy Paul, because back in the 4th, 5th grade, used to hand me all his comic books and slide them under my door as a reward for me sticking up for him one time. I guess he was bullied. Someone stole one of his Boys to Men tapes, and he came to me with a tear in his eye, and he asked me if I can get it back. And I felt so bad for the kid because he was kind of like a super nerd, and I decided to fight the bully, and I got into a fight at the bus station. And from that day on, this guy gave me all his comic books. So shout out to you, Paul, and shout out to the bully, because after the fight, we shook hands. But look at this. I have 2 Venom heads. You guys are familiar with the Venom from the animated series. I always say it was probably the worst design for Venom. I don't like it. I'm not saying I don't like the head, because this is exactly what it looks like in the cartoon. So it's pretty accurate. And that's the beauty of having a 3D printer. Being able to step up your customizing skills and to create anything accurately is amazing. Effortlessly, also, if I could mention that. But this looks really good, man. I'm not going to lie. I would recommend, if you guys are trying to make yourselves an animated Venom, to go with the Spider-Man that we just got and the Gwen. This is a must grab. You must go grab one of these. And I don't know, like, this is so perfect where I think Hasbro is going to make one eventually, because how can you not? The new super articulated Spider-Man that was just released is not the 90s animated series Spider-Man. It looks like it, but the head they gave us is more comic book accurate in comparison to this one, where this is the exact same face that's in the cartoon. So if you want a cartoon face, you also probably want to grab one of these heads. I'll be honest, this is not my favorite head. This looks like an old design from like the 60s, which I don't really like it. It just looks too manly for Peter Parker. Like, Peter's a boy. The face looks like an old man, almost like a 30-year-old man. But that isn't the Collector's Place fault. That is whoever designed the Spider-Man for the cartoon show. So for me, again, it looks accurate. I think for what it's referenced off, it looks perfect. It's 100% almost accurate, if not 100%, right? The only thing is, I'll say, when you do buy these casts, I think the holes are too big, so you'll have to get some sculpt and fill them in yourself and then size it to the peg hole you want. And then here's Eddie Brock with a cigarette in his mouth, and I don't know if that's appropriate in today's time, but I don't recall him being a smoker in the cartoon show either. Probably in the comics, I'm sure, but I don't remember that in the show. Nonetheless, it would be good to have an unmasked Eddie Brock head, not to use for the symbiote. I would probably use it for a more civilian-looking Eddie Brock, because I don't know how I feel about a symbiote smoking. But again, my head seems to have a hole so big that no peg will fit in it, so I'm going to have to put some sculpt inside and size it up with the peg that I want it to fit on, which I guess is a good thing too, right? Because if you want to put it on a specific body, then I guess you can size up the hole you want. You can see this one already has some sculpt in it. So it's a double-edged sword. It could be good, it could be bad, depending on how you see it. But nonetheless, I still think these faces are so accurate that you gotta at least get one if you are into the Spider-Verse like I am. Then I got these Carnage heads, which look pretty cool. But one thing I want to mention though is that I had 3 different Carnage heads just recently for the Spider Carnage, but I think he sent me 2 of the same heads and forgot to send me the one with the semi, like the really closed mouth. And he gave me 2 of these. But these are really cool anyway, so I know I'm going to put them to use. Probably make another Spider Carnage and then make a Carnage. So nonetheless, they look cool, but I would like to have the other one with the closed mouth. So I might make another order and see what I can get. Again, I recommend you guys hitting up the collector's place to get these heads. I'm not sure though if these heads were printed and casted or just printed and sold. I'm assuming they were probably just printed and not casted. And the reason why I say that is because of these teeth. They look really nice, but I will say be very careful because it looks like I have a couple broken teeth on this left side here. And that's a bummer because these teeth look amazing. They're really sharp. Oh, I have some hair right there. And that's from the Q-tip swiping off all the paint. You see that this looks black and gray. When I got all the heads, they were all black, but they were a little sticky due to them being in a bag. And I don't think they had enough time to air out and dry and stuff. So I did ask him what did he use for paint, and he said he used Rust-Oleum spray paint. And I recommend guys never use spray paint for any custom unless it's something I don't know about spray paint. But the only time I've ever used spray paint was on metal, because I tried it on shirts once upon a time and it doesn't work. And I tried it on plastic one time using the Dr. Ock tentacles, trying to chrome them out, and that didn't work. So I don't recommend spray paint at all. And this head reminded me so much of this Wolverine sculptor shelf head, where he had a cigar hanging out his mouth. So one's holding a cigar, the other one has a cigarette, but they both look kind of the same. The only difference is that the Wolverine one comes out, and I guess that's cool, but then it's not, because when it's out, he just has this big ass hole in his mouth, and it just looks ridiculous. So I think it's better if it's in. You might as well just glue it in, because look what happens if you take it out. He has that "thank you very much, Elvis" kind of look, and I don't know, it just doesn't look right. But these heads are great, and it makes me think, I wonder if this is also digitally printed and digitally designed, because it's just too detailed to not be. So I believe it is. Sculptor Shelf and the Collector's Place. And I think that's the future of customizing. I think just 3D prints. So you better believe that I'm going to invest in the 3D printer and some programming myself, because damn, this looks cool. I can't not just be left in the dust. Until then, what do you guys think about these heads? Are they good enough to be part of your Spider-Man collection and kind of like theme them out as the 90s animated series? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to know where to find these, the information's in the description box. Feel free to read that if you want. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys soon.